welcome to the Christmas Eve edition of Cracking the Cryptic, the 23rd of December, where we have a debut on the channel today for the constructor Ennead and a puzzle called Polyamorous Cages, which has an intriguing rule set. And I think Ennead means a set of 9 things, which is very, very appropriate given that we're going to be doing Sudoku. And there are all sorts of connotations of 9 in a Sudoku puzzle. But firstly, I must start with a confession. I am actually recording this very late at night on the 22nd of December. And that is because tomorrow, the 23rd of December, I have a very busy day. I've got to try and fix a broken car, about which, the less said the better. But let's just say my ability to fix cars is non-existent. And when they go wrong, I find it a huge source of stress. So I've got to do that in the morning, and then we've got a big family gathering in the afternoon. So I'm nervous that if I don't do this tonight, I might not be able to make a video tomorrow. And I know that I must make a video for tomorrow. So that is why at 11 o'clock at night, I'm going to embark on Polyamorous Cages and see what we can do. Now, the other confession I need to make is that I have had a couple of glasses of wine this evening, which is probably not the best idea. I also have no clue at all how hard this puzzle is, which is so foolish. It's so foolish. But anyway, the testers say this is a quite brilliant puzzle. I'll read you the rules in just a moment or two. Before I do that, let's start with the Sudoku event of the year, which is the Phistomefel Sudoku Hunt, which is available to all our patrons right now over on Patreon. The feedback has been, as you might expect, absolutely stunning. As at 11 o'clock this evening, there are some new solvers. I'll read out your names. Nicholas Ohl, Fabian Volman, Kim Jokinen, Hannah Nova, and Michael Dyrud. All of you sent in the correct entry, and I know what you have gone through to get that far. So very well done to all of you. And yeah, just check it out. It is an absolute masterpiece, and you won't regret it. Other than that, what else do I need to do? Oh, some announcements, of course. So Jay, it's your big 40 birthday, I think, today. And I know this because your wife, Melissa, wrote to us. And in fact, Melissa requested something rather special. And if you watch Mark's video later tonight, I think you will find the special thing that your wife was seeking on your behalf. But anyway, I hope you have a brilliant 40th birthday. Next, Yogi, I think it's your birthday. It might be tomorrow. I'm not sure, but your friend Input J wrote to us, wrote an incredibly kind email. Thank you for that. And Yogi does a different dessert every birthday. Well, chocolate cake is the one that you need for your birthday this year. So I hope you enjoy the chocolate cake when you have it. Next, Mark, your wife Sunny thought that you might like a shout out. Bobbins, I should have said, is this right? I should have said roast beef. Your wife Hamster requested a shout out. I have no idea what that's about, but I hope it amuses you. Next, now Joshua. I think you turn 7 tomorrow. Am I right? On Christmas Eve, it's your birthday. I think today is the right day for me to talk about your birthday, because I'm guessing the Christmas Eve edition, it's going to, if it comes out at 8:30 at night, it will be too late for you to see it. So I'm going to wish you a very happy birthday for today, if you see what I mean. And your dad Joseph wrote to us, and I understand, Joshua, that you are brilliant at maths. And I'm just checking the rules to this puzzle. It does involve maths. So Joshua, this is your time to shine. Do have a look at this puzzle, and I hope that you have an absolutely wonderful 7th birthday tomorrow. Other than that, the only other thing to mention is I've got some more successful solvers of the Cryptic Scriptures of the Secret Snake Society to read out. So congratulations to Lee Murray. Delighted to hear your 6-year-old daughter is helping you with the puzzles, Lee. Matt Dreyer, DTA, that sounds like deferred tax asset. I don't know. Is someone celebrating a deferred tax asset? That would be a strange thing to celebrate. Anyway, DTA, Marcin Jurasik, I think, Andrew Houchin, Mike Smith, Simon Dixie, Nigel Gormley, Scott Joss, Benny Ung, Andrew Edwards, Sandra and her dog Nala, Sindra Thomason, Valen Smith or Valen Smith, what is that? And Dogs Making Waffles, and Foxes Fixing French Toast. Fantastic solving, and very interesting names indeed. Anyway, let's have a look at Polyamorous Cages on this Christmas Eve edition by Ennead. And I will read you the very short rules today. We have just got normal Sudoku rules apply. Digits cannot repeat in cages. Oh, I see, yes. Okay, we've got no totals in any of the cages. Any group of 3 adjacent cages must sum to 45. Right. So that's very interesting. So that means that those 3 cages there must sum to 45. Those 3 must sum to 45. So must those 3. That's fascinating. Cells with identical colours contain identical digits. Right, so that's saying those 2 cells have the same digit and those 2 cells have the same digit. What a weird rule set. That is fascinating. Polyamorous cages, I see, because they pair up with more than one partner. I get it. I understand the title for once. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking at 11 o'clock at night. Now, Ennead, please don't make this too difficult. Well, I can see one thing. Actually, I can see 2 things, but it's not really related to the cages. I can ask where the blue digit goes in this box. And because you can't repeat a digit in a cage, I think that's got to be the blue digit. So those digits are all blue. Now I'm tempted to shade that in, but I'm just pausing because I'm actually not going to shade those in, actually. Because my instinct is that what I need to do... Yeah, I'm not going to shade that in. I'm going to change my mind. Well, I'm going to keep my mind, in theory at least, and I'm going to ask what the relationship is between this cage and this cage. And that surely, the relationship between these 2 cages is I think they have the same sum. Because if we know that those cells, they're 3 adjacent cages, so they must sum to 45. Let's just highlight those in blue for a moment. But we also know that those 3 adjacent cages must sum to 45 as well. And, well, those digits are common to both of those sums. So that implies that that and that must have the same total. And that, therefore, suggests that what we ought to be doing is shading these. And can we go further then? Does that propagate? Well, yes, it must propagate. So that cage must be the same. Every 3rd cage along this cycle must have the same total. So that cage must have the same total as that cage. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Those 3 sum to 45. So those 3 sum to 45. Well, if we're saying this is A plus B plus C, then C is the same in both cases. So these 2 cages must add to the same number. Now, what's going on at the end of this string? Let me think about that. Well, ooh, okay. So I want to say here that both of these cages are orange. I'm not sure if that can be true yet, but the logic suggests that's true, because if I take those 3 adjacent cages, I know they sum to 45, so that implies that this cage and this cage must have the same total. I think it's right, isn't it? The same must be true of those 3 cages. They sum to 45, the same as these 3, so that must be orange as well. So we build a sort of palm tree up the grid. Yeah, and it's interesting. I'm now seeing for the first time that this section of cages just doesn't touch. It's not adjacent to the palm tree, and the same is true of the bottom left sort of configuration of cages. So the bottom left would imply those cages must have the same total, because those three add up to 45 and those three add up to 45. So these two are common, so they must have the same sum. And the same thing is going to work, yeah, that cell and those two cells must have the same total by exactly the same logic. I'm running out of colours I want to use, so I'll use well, actually, do I want to use yellow, or is that going to adulterate my yellow digits? Well, okay, what we'll do is we'll switch. Rather than, we know these two digits are the same, and I know by Sudoku that is the same, so I will label those digits, whoopsie, I will label these digits with a letter. So let's give those the title of A's. These are all A. Now, I'll give these the moniker B, therefore. Okay, so B, if we look at where B goes in box 3, it can't repeat in its cage and it can't repeat in its column. So B is in one of those cells by Sudoku, which means B is in one of these cells by Sudoku. A is in one of those 3 cells by Sudoku. A is in one of these 3 cells by Sudoku. I'm not proud. I'm going to pencil mark these things. Now, what on? We don't know where B is in a 2 by 2 in box 5. What on earth am I meant to do now? This feels like where the action is, doesn't it? Up here. How do we conclude anything about this situation? I do not know. I can tell you that has a different parity to A. There we go, there is a deduction, and that is a mathematical deduction. So Joshua, you'll be able to tell us why these have different parity. One of these is odd, one of these is even. Now the reason for that is the secret. Now the secret is something I only tell my favourite people, but if you're watching this rather late recorded video, you're definitely one of my favourite people. Now the secret is that any complete box of a Sudoku, because it contains the digits 1 to 9 once each, sums to 45. Now 45 is an odd number, but if we think about the mathematics of orange vis-a-vis box 1, we can say something quite interesting, I think, because let's say that the total for the orange cage was X. Well, that means that these cells here sum to 2X. But, therefore, we know that those cells sum to 2X minus 2A. Now, 2 is a factor of both of those things. So, we know that the first number is an even digit, and the number we're subtracting from that first number is also an even digit. In other words, those 7 cells there are even. But the whole box sums to an odd number, and the only way that can work is if these 2 digits have different parity. So one must be odd, one must be even. And that is an immensely complicated way of proving absolutely nothing. Until we know what A is, if we knew that A was 5, then we would know that this would be 2, 4, 6 or 8. I know that the total for this P pentomino, this must sum to at least 15. And it can't sum to more than 24. And that's because oranges all have the same sum. So if I put 7, 8, 9 into that 3-cell orange sequence, which would be the most I could put in, I would get 24. And if I put the minimum into the 5-cell sequence, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and they sum to 15. So the orange number is somewhere between 15 and 24. But even if it was 24, that would mean these cells sum to 48. But if I make A big then, if I made A 9, these cells would only add up to 30, and that could be a 7-8 pair. Oh no, hang on, that would have to be the same. Oh well, that could be a 9, and that could be a 6 then. And that would be fine, I think. So what I'm getting at there is that there's no real problem with making A as high as it can be. If A is as low as it can be, 15 and 15 would be 30. That's more difficult actually, isn't it? That's probably impossible to make A 15. Or not A 15, but this P pentomino 15. Because if they add up to 30, and I deduct the minimum I possibly can from that, which would be a 1, that would give me 28 in these cells and require these to add up to 17 while making this square a 1. So that would have to contain a 16. So there is a restriction here. This is not 15. Let's just try another. Let's try 20 there and see whether or not there is a difficult restriction here. So let's try 20. That would be 40. And let's try a medium number. No, that's so okay. 40. If I make these, there's some sort of balancing act going on here, actually, isn't there? I think there's some sort of balancing act. So if I do make these 40, and I make these 4, say. No, because you've got to put A in here as well. It's tricky. Yeah, there's something going on here. There is something going on. I just need to work out how to optimize this. I'm going to try something. Right, I'm going to try something else on the box. Yeah, okay, I'm going to try something else because there's clearly some sort of restriction here. I just can't quite get my head around exactly how it works. But we do know that 2 orange plus purple equals 45. So, but I also know that that box adds to 45. So if I green, so the sum of green is 45, and the sum of these cells is 45. So the common digits there, the digits that are in both of those sums to 45 are those digits. So let's just degreenify those. And if you look at that, we know that in order to get 45 from the 3x3, we had to add this green cell to that. But in order to get 45 from the 3 cages, we had to add this cell, this cell, this cell, and this cell to those 8 cells. So in other words, those 4 cells there equal green. That's got to be restricted. Especially as, what's going on here? Because 2 of these are A. So these, what's going on here? So we've got 2 lots of A, plus these 2 digits, which have to be different, but cannot equal A, because A is there, and therefore it can't repeat in the cage, and also A is looking at these 2 cells, because A is in these 2 cells. This is fascinating. So I want to say that green is at least 7 then. Because if I make A 1, then these two squares would be at least a 2 and a 3, and 2 plus 3 plus double 1 is 7. Okay, yeah, I see. There's another way of thinking about this. There is another way of thinking about this. So we've worked out that those 4 cells added together add up to the green cell. But what is the sum of those 3 cells, for example? Well, that's the same as the sum of this cage, because A just transposes to here. In other words, the sum of this green cell is equal to the sum of those 3 cells plus 1 more A. So you can take that one or that one, it doesn't matter. So that's why this is 7, at least. It's got to be equal to at least 6 here plus 1 more digit. So A itself right. So A itself is no greater than 3, I want to say. Because if A was 4, then we know that the minimum sum of that cage is 6 with a 1, 2, 3, which it couldn't be if A was 4. It would have to be at least 1, 2, 4 plus 4, which is more. It's 11. That's more than 7, 8 or 9. There is a knowledge bomb for you from Cracking the Cryptic. This puzzle is far too complicated to be doing at 11 o'clock at night. But I am making progress now. So A is a maximum now of 3. Now can A be 3? If A is 3... then, oh, I see, that could be 9. No, that doesn't work. Right, A is not 3 for a different reason. If A was 3, we know that the way we express green is this cage plus A. Well, that cage cannot add up to less than 6, so that would be 6 plus 3 is 9. So if A is 3, that's 9, but they have the same parity. That doesn't work. The mathematics of this box said that those had different parity, and I trust parity, so A is not 3. Right, if A is 2, then what are we saying? If A is 2, if A is 2, then this digit well, that's ridiculous, right? If A is 2, that's a 9. It can't be a 7, because let's just think about this. If A is 2, then we know this is of different parity, so it's not 8. It cannot be 7, because remember, this green digit we can express it as those 3 plus A. So these 3 are at least 6. A is 2 in this instance, so that's 8, but we can't make it 8 because they would have the same parity. It can't be 7 because they would have different parity, which is correct, but they can't add up to that low. So if A is 2, that's 9. Let me just think about that. Is that going to work though? Because if A is 2, that's 2, that's 2. Right, so those 3 digits add up to 7. So 7 plus 2 is equal to 9. So that would be a 1-4 pair, which well, okay. So if that was 1, 2, 4, that would be 1, 2, 4 as well. I have a feeling that doesn't work for some reason, but I can't quite articulate why. Let's try and disprove 1 instead. So if A was 1, what are we then saying? We're then saying that... oh, good grief, right, we're saying that's 8. Right, because, yeah, these have to be of different parity, remember? So the only even parity we've got to put in this square is now 8. Right, and if A is 1, we know that 8 is expressed as the sum of that cage plus 1, which means that's still 7. Right, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so this is a 1, 2, 4 cage, but I don't know what that digit is. Wow, that is absolutely beautiful. Right, so that's never 7. This is either 1 or 2, depending on what A is. So A is always 1 or 2. So maybe I put these in the corner now, these A's, just so they don't distract me from the absolute values that I know this is. And this is a 1, 2, 4 triple. Wow! Hang on, let's get rid of the letters. So 4 is definitely in one of these cells, so 4 doesn't go there. And because purple adds to 7, that must be a 1, 2, 4 cage as well, because we know that purple has the same total. Now, what, if anything, can we do with that? Answers on a postcard. Answers on a Christmas card, please. I don't know. I've got an 8 or a 9 in the corner. But that does depend on what this is. So if this is 1... okay, so I can get 2... There's going to be 2 values for orange, isn't there now? Because if that's 1, this is 8. And that's 1, and that's 1. So I ought to be able to work out what orange is, I think. So let's think about that. So in this box, we know those cells sum to 45. Minus 9 is 36. So these cells sum to 36. Plus 1 is 38. And there are 2 orange cages, so orange sums to 19. So orange either sums to 19, or if this is 2, that's a 2, that's a 2. Now that's a 9, isn't it? So in this case, orange sums to, right, these cells are 45, minus 11 this time is 34. So those are 34, plus 2 is 38 again. Oh, right. Okay, so orange always sums to 19. Well, that's good then. I see, because although you're making this smaller and this smaller, you're taking off less outside the cage. That's weird. Okay, well anyway, it seems to be the case that orange adds to 19. So this adds to 19, and this adds to 19. So, oh, that's beautiful. So now I can work out the value of green, of course. Oh, this puzzle is really clever. It's far too clever for the 22nd of December late at night. Right, but look, if that's 7 and that's 19, and I know that these 9 cells sum to 45. Oh, I've just had another thought, actually. But let me just do the maths on this. 7 plus 19 is 26. So that's 19 as well. Right, so green, that's right, isn't it? 26 plus 19 is 40. Yeah, okay, that is right. So green is 19, that's 19. Orange is 19. No, the other thought I had, just let me think about this other thought I had. Because I know that every sequence of 3 cages sums to 45. Are there some sequences in this puzzle where you can't repeat a digit? Because if you can't repeat a digit, that would tell you that they had to be the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 once each. So no, see, that's not right, is it? In fact, there must be a repeated digit in this congregation of digits, because that is more than 9 cells. In fact, there's got to be at least 3 repeated digits there, because that is 12 digits that sum to 45. Okay. Right, but oh right, okay. But if green is 19 and orange is 19, then those 6 cells sum up to 38. and we know that box sums to 45. So those must add up to 7, and they've got to be 1, 2, and 4 as well. So this is... So now I've got a 1, 2, 4 triple here, and a 1, 2, 4 triple here. So B is not... B, whatever B is not 1, 2, or 4. Well, that's yippee... Yippee-i-a. That doesn't really worry me, does it? I wasn't thinking about the value of B. I suppose... Do I know that... Right, I know B is not 9, actually. Because if B was 9, I'd be adding a number to B in this cage in order to get the value of that cage, which would have to be 10 at least. So B is not 1, 2, 4, or 9. Wow, okay. Do we know the composition of the cages in here? Where does the 3 go? Yes, we do. Okay, so in the central box, these 6 cells we know add to 38. Where do I put the 3? The answer is I haven't got a clue. But wherever I put the 3, it's in a 19 cage. So its other 2 digits have to add up to 16. So they're going to be a 7 and a 9. Right, so one of these cages is 3, 7, 9, and the other is 5, 6, 8. 5, 6, and 8 do add up to 19. So we don't know which way round they go, but we do know the combinations that are involved in box 5. Now... What is it that I'm meant to look at next? It could be... I don't actually know. I think... I'm probably going to try this box first, but I'm also intrigued a bit by this box. I think similar to the logic we did in box 1, I think for all of these corner boxes, we're going to be able to build relationships between the box value and the cages that sort of in fact, it might be more difficult down here in box 9, and the cages that add to 45. So if we think about it in box 9, we know those cells, let me just highlight them, those blue cells add up to 45. But I also know, of course, that the orange plus the green plus the purple add to 45. You can see the common digits there are those ones. So what that's telling us is that these 2 cells must sum to the digits that are outside the box. So those 2 digits, which are in the box, add up to the same as those 5 digits, 3 of which add up to 7. Right, so another way of saying this is that those 2 digits, well, these 2 digits are 7 plus those 2 digits. So these 2 digits can't be that high. Ah, right. Good grief. This is, I tell you what, this is quality. This is a debut, I think. Ennead is a name that I'm going to look out for, because this is beautiful stuff. It really is. The geometry here is so interesting again. Right, because look, those 2 wing cells. Right, let's cut to the chase. We know these digits are going to have to be quite high, because these 2 cells can't be 1s and 2s. One of them could be a 3, but the minimum these could be would be a 3-5 pair. Let's make that a 3-5 pair and see what that means. These 2 cells now add up to 8. We know that blue adds up to 7 plus 3 plus 5, which is 15. So these cells are at least 15, and they're going to be much higher than that if these cells are in any way non-minimal. Now, what about if there's no 3 in those cells? Well then, because you can't put 4 into these cells either because of these 1, 2, 4 triples, this will be at least 5 plus 6. 5 plus 6 is 11, plus another 7 is 18. That would require double 9 here, which doesn't work. So there is a 3 in one of those two cells, which means B is not 3. I love this. This is absolutely quality. I don't know which of those is 3, but whichever one is, C's a B. So if that's 3, that B can't be 3, and therefore that one can't be. And if that's 3, that B can't be 3, and therefore that one can't be. So B is now at least 5. And possibly not 5 if this is not a 3-5 pair. Well, if that is a 3-5 pair, then B is pushed up again, because one of these will be 5. So let me just think about this. So what's the maximum value of B? I know one of these is 3. I'm adding 7. So I'm adding 7, 10. Right, so 7 is 7's the maximum. That's not actually that exciting. But we can't use 4. So 5, 6, 7. So it's 3, 5, 6, or 7 into these cells. Now, I don't know. I'm not sure what to do with that. B is now at least equal to 5, because it sees a 1, 2, 4 triple, and it cannot be a 3. Okay, so B is at least 5. Let's corner mark the B's now, rather than central pencil mark them, just because otherwise I think things are going to get too cluttered, and I don't like clutter. So B in here is now at least 5, so that digit is at least 6, because we're adding a number to B in order to get, we're adding a number to B in order to get this digit, because we know those cages add up to the same. And okay, so I see. So if it is A that goes in here, we might only be adding a very small number on. So the challenge, I think... Oh, right. Now I was about to say something, but I've spotted something else. B is now in one of those 3 cells. B is in orange. Oh, and it's in orange here as well. Right, hang on, let's think about that. So B by Sudoku is in orange because it's not a 1, 2, or a 4. And B is in orange down here. So the other 2 digits in this cage add up to 3 of the digits in this cage. Actually, I'm not sure I know how to use that. Okay. I think I either want to... I think I'm going to have to do this in every box. I'll do this one first, and then we'll do this one down here. So what is the trick in this one? We know that these cells, of which there are 10 only, sum up to... Let's give them a colour. Those 10 cells sum to 45 because they're 3 adjacent cages. Those cells also sum up to... Oh, that's a terrible choice. Let's make them light grey. Those cells also sum to 45. So the common digits there are those ones. So let's lose the colours there. So what we're now learning is that these 2 digits sum to the same as this digit. Let's get rid of the colour there because that's a bit confusing. Actually, I'll keep the colour in this one. This colour is the same as those 2. So that's at least a 6 as well, because we're adding B, which is that digit, to that one. Oh, no. This is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. Right. That digit is now at least an 8. Because that 1, 2, 4 triple... Yeah, okay, I'm going to actually step back a bit. I'm going to keep my colours, even though they're horrible. I'm just going to get rid of the green there. Let me make these... I don't know what to do. Red. I've still got red available. Right. So these 2 digits, we know from the maths we just did, sum to this digit. Now, this digit can't be 1, 2 or 4, so it's at least a 3. And maybe it has to be a 3, actually. It has to be a 3. I've got a digit. 40 minutes, yay! I've got a digit. Because, how could this not be 3? If it's not 3, it's not 4, so it's at least 5. And 5 plus 5 is a double-digit number, which couldn't go in that cell. So that is 3. This now is 5 or 6 only, which is the B digit. So that's 5 or 6 only. This digit is 8 or 9. It's 3 plus 5 or 6. There's an 8-9 pair in row 1. Let me just think about this. Oh, no, better. Where does the 3 go in the wings of the W pentomino? At the bottom there. Not here anymore. So that's not 3. So that's a 3. Now I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple in row 6. So that's probably going to be putting pressure on this digit. So when we do the same trick in here, we're going to have to check this digit, I think, now. But let's come back to what's going on over there. Do we now know more about the world? I know that B is 5 or 6 and it lives in here. I am tempted, I have to say. So these digits are B, which is 5 or 6, and a number we add to 5 or 6 to get this number. So we can't have more than... So these digits are not able to be 7s, 8s and 9s, are they? It's got to be at most a 4 being added to a 5. There's a 1, 2, 3 or 4 and a B digit in here, which does mean I would have to pencil 6 different digits in the box, which I probably shouldn't do. But maybe we can remember... No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I know what to do with that, sorry. Okay, here's another thing. Oh, no, this is a better thing. This is a better thing. Let's do Sudoku. Sudoku, that unfaithful friend. 3 can't repeat in green. It's not the same as 6, 7, 8 or 9. It can't repeat in its column. So 3 is in this domino, which means 3 is in one of those 3 cells in box 3, and it can't be here. So that is a 3. Which means 3 is in one of these 2 cells. Now what do we know? We know that cage adds up to 19, don't we? Now, so if this is a 1... Yeah, okay. So that digit is the grey digit, I think. So the question I'm asking myself is it possible to complete this T-tetromino, this Tetris piece, without an 8 or a 9 in it? And the answer is no, because we could put 7 and 6 in, and 3 and 2. And 7, 6, 3 and 2 only add up to 18, and we know this cage adds up to 19. So it's got an 8 or a 9 in it, and it's not that one. So it must be that one, and it must go there. That's gorgeous, isn't it? So that goes there. Let's in fact greyify this to try and remember that. So if... Oh, this is good. Why can't I just see this? I'm going to have to work it through again. If this is a 1, that's a 1. We know that's an 8, don't we? 1 went with 8 because these were always 7 apart. So if that's a 1, that's an 8, that's a 9, and you'd have 10 in the cage along with 3, which is 13, so you'd need another 6. So this is either 3, 6, or if this is 2, this is 2, this is 9, so that's 8 then. So we'd have 2. Oh, so that's always 3, 6, because these 2 cells always add up to 10. And I should have been able to appreciate that instantly and just couldn't do it. Right, but anyway, that's great. that gives me a 3-6 pair here, which means 6. Yeah, I don't know what that means actually. Well, it means I know what these squares are in theory, don't I? These squares are the digit of 1 and 2 that we haven't used in the box yet, i.e. not this digit, and also 4, 5 and 7, I think. So 4, 5 and 7 add up to 16, plus 1 and 2 adds up to 19, so that makes sense. Right, now, and somehow or other, all of these 1, 2, 4 triples that were all over the place don't look into that sequence, so we don't get to learn what they are. Okay. So what do we do now? I'm tempted to immediately turn my attention to box 7, I think, because box 7 has another of these funny relationships going on. Let's highlight those in red and highlight the cages which must sum to 45 in yellow. So the common digits there are those. So they use their yellow and redness. So, so we get this digit is the sum of those two digits this time. And that digit, well, no, this is the pressurized digit, isn't it? That is at least a 5 by the power of Sudoku, which tells us this digit. Can we get rid of, done it. Right, well, I haven't done it, but I've got something. Look, 1, 2 and 4 are looking at this cell again. Can that be a 3? Maybe, I don't know. Oh, I've just seen something else actually that I want to think about. This puzzle is stone cold brilliant. I'm telling you that. But look, this digit here, it could be a 3, I think, but it can't be 1, 2 or 4. But it must add to this digit to give this digit. So I see it's exactly the same actually. It's a 3. It is a 3 because if it wasn't a 3, it would be at least a 5, and 5 plus 5 is 10. So it works exactly the same way. That becomes a 3. But I can do more with this. Anyway, I can do loads of things with this. I can do loads of things. So this is now 8 or 9. This is now the same as that digit, because it's not the grey one. So let's change. Oh, should I change the colour of this to green? Maybe that's the simplest thing to do. I'll change that to green. I wonder if we can prove that this is B. But the other thing I'm noticing, and this is beautiful, is remember what we said about these triominoes in box 5. One of them was 3, 7, 9, and the other one was 5, 6 or 8. So whether B is 5 or 6, because it lives in that cage there, that is a 5, 6, 8 cage. And that means this is a 3, 7, 9 cage, and I was going to use that for interest, but now I don't need to because I've actually got a 3 here. So that becomes a 3. This becomes a 7, 9 pair. 3 is in one of these 3. So, wow, is in one of those 3 cells. What's going on in this column then? We've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 9. We need 5s, 6s and 8s. Into these squares. I'll pencil mark it. I think we might be able to do better. Maybe not actually, sorry. Okay. These two add up to this one. Green appears in one of those cells. Oh yes, and the other thing we've got to remember here is that this cage sums to that cage. That would have been more interesting if this digit had been a bit higher actually, but it's not. Also, if that's a 3, that would be a bit interesting because then those two digits would sum to that one. Okay. So what on earth do we do now? I'm going to double click my 3s. Can we do any Sudoku trickery? Yeah. 3 is not in the corner. Oh, 3 is not in the corner. Doesn't get a song, but 3 gets placed in this box down here. So now 3 is in this cage, which is, what do we know about that cage? We know it's got a 5 or a 6 in it, which could be a B. If it was a B, then there would be a B here, and that would that actually looks quite likely, doesn't it? I've got a bad feeling we're about to get horribly stuck. I've used all of my trickery. I'm out of trickery. I need more trickery now, because I've done my trick on boxes 1, 3, 7 and 9, and I think I might have done it on 5 by proxy as well, in essence. So I've done my tricks. What's going on in here? Do we know? We know that digit. We know that there's a relationship, don't we, between these two cells and these two cells. Yes, they differ. They differ by 7. So at the moment we've got 10. So if this digit is 5, that would mean 5 would have to go in here, along with B. B has to go in. Ah, look, B is not there by Sudoku. So B lives in the cage. So B is 5. Do I know? Yes, this is a 19 cage. Ah. Well, oh, that's lovely. Right. I can immediately get rid of 5 from here now. Because, watch this. If this is 5, B is 6. Now, if there is a 6 in this cage, along with a 3, that gives you 9. The other two digits have to add up to 10, but one of them would be a 5 now, because if we make that 5, I can't put 5 in green again. 5 cannot go in the blue digits, so 5 would be in the cage with 6, and there would need to be 2 5s, which won't work. So that is not 5. Now, if that's 6 on the other hand, then we'd have exactly the same problem, unless I can put 6 in the wings, which I can't do. This is quality. Right, if that's 6, this is 5. Now, we've got 3 and 6 here, which are 9. We know these add up to 7 more than 9, which is 16. So these are a 7-9 pair. And that means in this box, there's a B, which is 5, and there's a 6, and there's a 3, which means there has to be another 5 again. It's exactly the same logic. So that is actually a 7, is what we've just proved. And therefore, these are an 8-9 pair, aren't they? Because we've got 10 here plus 7, which is 17. So they have to be an 8-9 pair. That's the only way we can do that. Now, oh, there, yeah. Now I can colour these, because this 8-9 sees that one, and we know that this one, so that this is a grey one. Let's get rid of the blue, actually. And we can grey this. Which type of grey is it? It's the light grey. That colour, and then this one must be the green colour. So there's a green in one of these, there's a light grey in one of those, oh dear, there's a, right, okay, well let's try something else then. There is a 7 in this cage now. Oh, this is it. That's it, we've done it. I'll tell you what, this is one of the most, again, I mean, how many times have I said this recently, but it's true. Right, by Sudoku, this is one of the best puzzles that we've seen in a long time. Again, this is a 3-7 pair, because 7 can't go in green, and it can't be an 8 or a 9, it's in this box, which means it's in one of those two squares, which means it's in one of these two squares where I've pencil marked a 3. So this is now a 3-7 pair, but I've now got 10 in my orange. The other two cells have to add up to 9. So if I was to put 6 in here, which would be a B digit, if I make B 6 and put it in there, there's got to be another 3. So B must be 5. So that's 5. That's 5. B is 5 now. So there's a 5 in here. I don't know now whether to abandon my B-age. And maybe that's what I should do. I should get rid of my B pencil mark and replace it with a 5 pencil mark. Get rid of my B pencil mark and replace it with a 5 pencil mark. Have I got any other B? I've got... Oh, I don't know what that one is. I think that's going to end up being B, but I can't prove it. We can get rid of the B there, though. Because we've sort of proved that there's a 5 in here already, haven't we? So this cage now has B in it, which is 5. It has 7 in it. It has 3 in it. They add up to 15. So there is a 4 in this cage as well to make it add up to the right number. So this is 4. Oops, I want to go central pencil mark. 4, 5, and 7. And that's not 7. And that's not 5. And therefore those digits are 1, 2, and 6 by Sudoku. Somehow these aren't resolving themselves. Okay. But what does that mean? That means that... Oh, here's something I've just seen. Where does A go in box 5? That is A, so A is not there. That is A, so A is not there. So that digit is A, and that means it's not a 4. So that digit is a 1 or a 2. Which means 4 is in one of those, 4 is in one of these. So if that was 4, that would be 4. And if that was 4, that would be 4. So there's a weird sort of offset X-wingy thing going on. I don't know what that means. Right, I can get rid of 5 from those two cells by Sudoku. So I end up with a 6-8 pair. Oh, I've got my my relationship in box 3. That grey cell, remember, was the sum of those two. So that's now an 8. Oh, right, that's beautiful. And that, of course, is the grey 8, 9. So that is the same as that digit, which makes that a 6. Ooh, we might have to be careful here because all of a sudden this is going to cause flurrying, isn't it? That being an 8 gives me a 9 here, a 9 here, an 8 here, a 9 here, a 9 here. That can't be 9 apparently. There's a 9 looking at... Oh, this is huge. Right, that 9 is looking at that digit, so that's a 7. So that, which has a B digit in it, remember, in order to add up to 7, that is a 2-5 pair now. I don't know if we can say much more than that. Do we know what A is? Yes. This is right. I can tell you that. That is A. Because, remember, when this was 9, that had to be 7 apart from it. That had to be the 2, and that's the A digit. So that's 2. That's 2. These are not. Let's get rid of the 2's from here. This is now a 2. This is a 5. There's a 5 up here, I think. We can probably know which way around though. That's a 6, so that's an 8 by Sudoku. 8 is now in this bottom region here. I don't think we know what the total of that is yet. But okay, but remember as well, we worked out that that digit, oh, that's not B. This isn't B, I don't think. Because remember, when we did the trickery on this box, we discovered that this digit was the sum of those two. Well, now, that's got to be a 6, doesn't it? And that's not the same as B, which was 5. So that's not 6. We know A is 2, so let's make that a 2. So these are not 2. So 2 is now in one of 2 places in this box down here. Can we keep going with this? Come on, let's keep going. It's going very nicely indeed, but we're now getting stuck. Oh no, 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 we're not going to get stuck, are we? Please don't get stuck, Simon. Please don't get stuck. That would be a horror show. Right, let's do some Sudoku. What do we know in this box? We know that the 2 is now, this is now a 1, 4, 5. Right, that's not 7s. This is not 5s. So we're down to... Right, so I've now found a 1, 4, 7. That's snooker maximum in row 3, which means we must be looking for 6s, 8s and 9s. So where does the 6 go in this row? Yeah, okay, that's been available for ages, hasn't it? But never mind, I'm still pleased to find it. So this has got to be an 8-9 pair, and there's a 9 here. So that's 9, that's 8, this is 8, that's 5, that's 6 by Sudoku. 6 goes here by Sudoku. Come on. 5 is now in one of these 3 cells by Sudoku using these 2 5s. This column has an awful lot of real estate in it. We need 1s, 2s and 4s. Right, that's worth pencil marking actually. In fact, we also have a 5 here I'm now seeing. This is 1 or 4. That's 1, 2 or 4. That's 1, 2 or 4. But that gives me a 1, 2, 4 triple in this box, which means that cell needs to be a 6. Okay, which we could have got a different way. But I'm still very pleased to see it. There's a 6 in one of these cells now. I don't know what this means. We might have to colour our 1s and 4s in a minute. That seems quite plausible to me. 5 is definitely up here. 7 is definitely down here. Oh, 7 is an inch. Right, okay. So there's a 7 in one of those 2 cells, and there's a 7 in one of those 2 cells. So in this column, 7 is locked into one of those 2 cells, and that is very interesting for no reason at all. It doesn't do anything. 8 by Sudoku is placed here. So now that did... Oh, that's great. Right, in this row we need a 7 or a 9 to complete it, which is there, and we've just said that can't be a 7 because the 7's there. So that's 9, that's 9, that's 7. 9 goes here by Sudoku. 9 goes here by Sudoku. So this square is a 1, 4 or 5 and can't be a 5. So that's a 1, 4, giving me a 1, 4 pair here. Take the 1 out of those squares, plonk it in here. This is a 2, 6. So that digit's now known to be a 7. Which means that's the 7 over in box 4. Which means that that's the 2 by Sudoku. This is a 1 or a 4. Again, we've got a 1, 4, 7 going on in... Oh, we've got another 4. Right, we have actually. We've got lots of 1, 4s and 7s going on. Which I hope I'll be able to resolve somehow. I'm sure, yeah, we might have to colour them. I suspect that's what we have to do. Oh, no, we don't. That's a 1. So that's going to unwind them all. 4. No, that's a 1. That's a 4. So that's a 4, that's a 7, that's a 1, that's a 4, that's a 1, that's a 4. Ah, this is just an absolute joy. This is one of the best puzzles you could ever wish to do. Now, can we get the ones? Yes, we can. 1s and 4s in the middle get filled in. This digit's known. I just have to do Sudoku to get it. That's an 8. So these digits are now known. They are 3, 5, and 1 of all things. 1, 3, and 5 don't seem to be able to do any Sudoku to help me with this. Right, let's carry on with my... That's not 1. Oh, right, 4, look, comes out of these squares, at which point this one's become a 2. That becomes a 1, that becomes a 2, that becomes a 6. What's going on in the bottom row? I'm sure this is now finished. Come on, finish yourself, puzzle. 1, 3, 5, 6 in this column. That's a 5, naked single. Can't be 1, 3 or 6. That gets me the 5 here. A 4, 7 pair. So these two squares are 2 and 8, which we can do. 2, 8. I think I've done all the 8s now by the looks of things. This is not 5 anymore because there's a 5 here. Oh, okay, and I must... Oh, I've got A labelled here. What was A after all? A was a 2. No, okay, that's the 2. So I need to remove that pencil mark before that trips me up. These squares are 1, 4... No, not a 1, 4, 7 this time, a 1, 4, 6 triple. That looks... Well, it looks like we can't do it. Oh no. I can do the 4, 7 over this side. Okay, I've got a 1, 3, 6 triple in this column. Surely I can do better than I have done in this column. I've hardly got any digits in this column. I've got 2, 8, and 9. Oh, right, I see. I see. It's going to be these greys, isn't it? That's so cool. That's so cool. What a finish. What a finish. Look, these grey cells, these grey cages add up to the same number. Well, 8 is the same as a 3 plus a 5, so that digit has to be the same as that digit, and the only way that works is if they're both 1. So that gives me 1, 3, 6, 3, 1, 5. Is that, yeah, 3, 7, 7, 4. I think it must be done now. That's 5 by Sudoku. That's a 4 by Sudoku, so that's a 6. That is a stunning puzzle. My goodness me. Yes. Oh, 66 minutes of pure and utter class from Ennead. That was absolutely brilliant. That is one of the... Oh, well, again, I mean, how many times have we said this? I mean, that is a book-worthy puzzle, if ever there was one. It is just brilliant. There is not... Well, every deduction is gorgeous, and they all link together in a really coherent way. So the whole theme, I think, of this puzzle is sort of thinking about 45s and the different ways of making them up, and drawing different geometries and finding the relationships between the innies and the outies, effectively. But the way it meshed together to give us, you know, getting the fact there was a 3 in one of these was beautiful. Sorting those 2 digits out was beautiful. You know, all of these tiny deductions which led to high digits and low digits, colouring the 8s and 9s. Take a bow. Just take a bow. That is absolutely superb. Loved it. Thank you, Ennead, for that. Thank you for watching. It's very late now. It's very late, nearly time for my bed. But at least we will not be videoless on the 23rd, on the Christmas Eve edition of Cracking the Cryptic. Thank you for watching. We'll be back later with a Mark edition, and do leave a comment. I like the comments, especially when they're kind. Bye for now.